45 degrees south. The Canadian sealer Theron was carving her way through pack ice. Her mission? To land the advance party of a great expedition. Held fast in the ice for over a month, the discharging of vital stores and equipment gravely behind schedule. An advance party to be left for a year to secure a foothold and build a base a mile in from the coast for the main expedition. But scarcely was unloading completed when strange thin mist rising from the water told that new ice was already beginning to form, and for the little ship this spelt danger. She must sail at once or be frozen in for the whole winter. There was not even time to move up the 350 tons of stores hastily unloaded onto the sea ice. That would be a problem for the men left behind. Shortly after the Theron sailed away to safety, the sea ice was broken up by a gale. Some of the stores, including most of the fuel for heating, floated out to sea and were lost. For the 8 men of the advance party, a winter to be survived in 4 small tents and an empty tractor crate, in temperatures 60 below. Stage 2, November 1956. A brand new polar vessel, the Danish ship Magadan, leaves London, bound for Antarctica. The main party of the Commonwealth Transantarctic Expedition was underway, with men of the United Kingdom, New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa. It has taken their leader, Sir Vivian Fuchs, 6 years of planning and organization to reach this moment. At the same time, and a part of that same plan, in the southern Alps of New Zealand, a group of men under Sir Edmund Hillary were training. The conditions similar to those that they would meet in Antarctica. Pilots who would have to land on skis must try out every kind. Not always successfully. Mechanization and dogs, both to play a key role in the plan. Huskies bred and selected in Greenland, still the best means of hauling sledges when scouting a route through unknown and difficult terrain. Before the real test, dogs and drivers meet and train to work together. South Atlantic. Magadan, 7,500 miles from London. Past the island of South Georgia, last landfall before the polar continent.
John Stevenson, from Brisbane, was our geologist. Bunny Fuchs proved the champion skipper. David Pratt, engineer in charge of all the vehicles, could only skip backwards. Hal Lister had his own ideas about taking exercise. We'd had 6 weeks good weather, but that was behind. In this part of the southern hemisphere, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans meet in one great sweep of unbroken sea that settles the globe.
Again, the defenses of Antarctica. The menacing pack ice of the Weddell Sea. A sea like no other, never entirely free of ice and in winter impassable, frozen solid. As it breaks up in the summer months, the circular movement of the currents creates an enormous slow-motion whirlpool of floating ice. Through this, the Magadan steamed, crossing the Antarctic Circle into 24 hours of daylight. At midnight, the sun lay low on the horizon, reflecting the ship's hull warmly on the floes. Wind and current can close the ice around a ship like a giant trap. Such is the barrier, even in summer, that must be penetrated before the Antarctic continent can be reached. A barrier that has defeated intrepid sailors and explorers in the past. Great men have challenged these defenses in quest of the South Pole and the secrets of Antarctica.
Their example and discoveries paved the way for our own expedition, and we can look at the very early silent films of their work in the South, which still bring alive for us the struggle and valor of these pioneers. These scenes were made in 1911 by Herbert Ponting, a member of Scott's last expedition. Captain Scott believed that the use of dogs for sledging inflicted suffering on the animals. We know today that dogs do not suffer when properly treated. Nevertheless, Scott relied entirely on man-hauling. He and his companions each dragged a sledge weight of 190 pounds. They did this on rations that analysis has revealed to be totally devoid of vitamin C and of a calorie value that allowed no margin above bare subsistence level. On such a diet, 4 months is about as long as men could be expected to survive under such physical strain and in these extremes of cold and altitude. They man-hauled their sledge up the longest valley glacier in the world, the Beardmore. 100 miles of rough, broken ice and pressure ridges, rising to 10,000 feet. Little wonder that by their 5th month, sores were refusing to heal, that lassitude and nervous and physical exhaustion had set in. It was not from starvation alone that Captain Scott and his gallant comrades perished. On reaching the pole, the bitter discovery that they had been beaten. Scott wrote, "We found the remains of a camp and the clear trace of dogs' paws, many dogs." The Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen had arrived first, using dog teams. 3 years later, in 1914, the ship Endurance plunged into the Antarctic pack ice. Ernest Shackleton was returning to the south, planning this time to cross the entire continent. For his party, he had organized exceptionally good sledge rations, and he was equipped with first-rate dog teams. Then, a gale packed ice around the ship. Attempts to free Endurance were unavailing. The ice froze round her harder than ever. She was beset. Shackleton told his men they must prepare for a winter of darkness on the ice, and he declared the ship a shore station. For months, the ice heaved and cracked around the Endurance. Frank Hurley, who filmed these scenes, wrote, "We are the embodiment of helpless futility and can only look impotently on. The line of pressure now assaults the ship, and she is heaved up to the crest of the ridge like a toy. The ship is doomed." Shackleton's plan met with no disaster.